While the Survivor community has made lots of videos critiquing twists, and, let's be honest, me also, we do have to sometimes pat Survivor production on the back and say, hey, you didn't actually screw up this time. And today, I'll be breaking down my top 5 twists that in my opinion are the best Survivor has introduced. On the topic of introductions, hiding at number 5 are what I refer to as add-on advantages, introduced in Season 30 Worlds Apart with this extra vote and taking new forms for the past 13 seasons now. These are smaller advantages, still useful to the contestants, but usually with less power than the now iconic hidden immunity idol. But more on that later. Now, I won't sit here and say all of these add-on advantages are incredible. You've had your warning, Mr. Knowledge, but most are at least decent, with almost all of the bad ones only featuring on one season of a version Survivor, and then done away with. While it would take far too long to list them all in detail, I'll give some quick reasons why I enjoy these advantages. The extra votes and steal of votes are situationally useful advantages, allowing a group off by one vote to turn the tides, with Marianne from Survivor 42 showing just how effective it can be. The legacy advantage can get boring faster, as it only has designated rounds, hence why Survivor seems to be slowing it down as of recent, but we still saw Sarah's amazing manipulation work in full effect when taking it from game changer Sierra Dawn Thomas. Safety without power is another neat risk versus reward advantage, where you're safe but lose your alliance a vote. The shot in the dark, although as of recording hasn't been used successfully, still incentivizes a more heavy blindside and chaotic meta due to essentially everyone having the option of rolling the dice for immunity. Small challenge advantages or disadvantages have their fun character moments. Fire tokens for the contestants in the game offered a fun token economy I'd love to see further explored without the edge, and the reward steal is pretty decent, although my opinion of it may have improved since its useful implementation in Return of the Outcasts. With Survivor now existing for over 2 decades, the game is constantly under threat of being stale, but these small add-ons explore new strategies or continuations on old strategies to either utilise or counter these advantages. And I feel when well thought out and in moderation, these advantages can make the highlights of a season. And number 4 is location twists. Now it might be hard to remember, but back in the olden days, everything wasn't in Fiji. I know. Insane. Instead, Survivor went to different locations, sometimes even every season, with the producers placing so much emphasis on the filming location that it was the season's name. Now this might seem rather insignificant, but there's 2 reasons why this is important, and why it's an issue that modern Survivor has remained in Fiji for 10 seasons. Firstly, the location has imparted itself into challenges, giving them a unique feel. Take Gabon, a beautiful environment where many of its rolling hills were invented, and Ace got his front teeth dented. If you watch Survivor seasons, season 32 and before, you may notice an interesting challenge makeup in that some challenges are built around the environment rather than the typical challenge built on the environment. Take the Australian Outback for example, where we wouldn't have had a cliff diving challenge into a course navigating the streams, if not for production deciding to base the challenge on the impressive ledges and adjacent rapids. These challenges were a breath of fresh air, showing off terrain and providing unique challenges that weren't continuous obstacle courses. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that challenge type necessarily, but it can get formulaic to the point players have been able to break challenges due to having knowledge that they appeared prior. But also different locations provide an opportunity for production to show off different cultures, like China's marooning were 5 minutes in and they were praying in a 400-year-old Buddhist temple. And this also got us introduced to Courtney Yates with her craving to rip everything to shreds. We also got to see further insight to the location's culture with various rewards like regional dancing, visiting beautiful reservoirs and exploring local villages. On the topic of local villages, it was used in the marooning of Pearl Islands, a season greatly helped by production being inspired by the pirate history surrounding the coast of Panama. It's been almost 20 years and we haven't seen a season dripping with this much creative passion where the challenge designers clearly brought their A game. On the other end of the spectrum at number 3 is casting twists. To exemplify my example, Here's a question. Who was the winner of Survivor 33? Or, who was the winner of Survivor Millennials vs Generation X? Well, I don't know about you, but it would be a lot easier for me to name the winners if their season name derived from a casting theme. Sure, certain season themes may have not made sense due to the cast divisions, like Game Changers, Brains, Bronze and Beauty, and Fans vs Favourites 2. I mean, what's this cast? But at least they made the season more memorable, giving the viewer a reason to return to the next season and provide some structure for a season. Even though it's relatively common knowledge Survivor creates their cast, then assigns a cast theme for the most part, I feel they still pick strong themes to explore and interesting dynamics. In fact, I think the themes of David vs Goliath, Heroes vs Villains and Cagayan were a strong reason why the winners and by extension seasons are so loved by the community. Nick was a David that had to continuously beat Goliaths, Sandra beat out the other villains because she had the heart of a hero, and Tony exemplified all three traits in being a challenge asset for his tribe, blindsiding numerous people, and for Beauty, he did it all without even having breasts, you guys. But Survivor is a social experiment at its core, and it is interesting seeing if a trait or occupation works better in a group or individual setting. Plus, unlike island twists, these casting twists only happen for the first few episodes, meaning even if the opening tribe divisions aren't interesting, they aren't staining the entire season. Like that god, Forsaken. The word Forsaken describes twist too well, the tribe swap. This takes every player in the game, forces them to iconically drop your buffs, and places them onto new swap tribes. Typically this is done at random, although Survivor has also experimented with swap tribe twists that have a strategic or social element, which is nice to see as a change on rare occasions. Now, for the majority of the time, these swaps are random, which can cause players in the majority of their old tribe becoming swap screwed on their new tribes and getting picked off. It's an unfortunate situation, and considering there have been several videos on YouTube covering this topic, it's not a one-time occurrence. That being said, it is entertaining from a show perspective, seeing a savvy player having to go against the odds, and definitely shows the variance a good player can have in navigating different tribes. On the topic of entertainment, I think swaps keep the game more interesting by changing the dynamics as well as returning the numbers to an even playing field. While seasons with no swaps still can have entertaining mid to late pre-merge rounds, I can't help but feel most of the time these rounds consist of picking between two people that are on the bottom that must go. Plus, I think it speaks volumes this is one of the longest twists to occur in Survivor, beginning in Season 3 and being last seen in Season 40. It's just a fantastic twist to raise anticipation for the next episode. Plus, who knows, maybe modern Survivor will finally decide to reintroduce swaps. It wasn't just me who was wondering how Season 42's Daniel would have got on a new swap tribe, no. That being said, at number 1 is the Hidden Immunity Idol. Introduced in Guatemala, this twist has been in every one of the 32 following seasons and most international Survivor seasons after its inception. And it's already a great sign that a twist like this has constantly been brought back after its creation, with the item even now being synonymous with Survivor. The idol has many variations, some of which I like more than others, but I do appreciate the producer switching up the formula to add variables to the game. Overall, I'd say I like split idols for encouraging social games, and having allies that won't throw their half in the fire. Timed idols prevent advantage get-ins and encourage bigger pre-merge moves. Tribe idols meant for the other tribes can have fun, sneaky scenes that even have defined parts of international seasons. The God Idol and the Guatemalan Idol are two over and underpowered respectively, but the common modern day negating idol is mwah, chef's kisses, the gold standard. As one of my commenters argue, if a twist keeps reappearing over and over every season since being created, you know that it's one of, if not the best, twists. There's also the Beware advantages, but if you want my opinion on them, in the end screen I'll be linking a video where I discuss every Beware advantage. Nonetheless, I know in the community there's been a want for a quote-unquote bare-bones season, no idols or anything, just good old-fashioned Survivor. Well, we actually got a modern day equivalent in Survivor New Zealand Nicaragua that had 0 idols, and, to put it bluntly, I've heard of medieval tortures that seem less painful than watching this season. Idols change the dynamic of the season, providing power to those in the minority and preventing those on the bottom from continually being voted out. Not to mention there are several strategies devised to outplay an idol, including the split vote, throwing your vote onto another, the decoy vote, and making sure your target won't play their idol. And the fact that this one twist has an entire playstyle around it, as well as playstyles on how to outplay it, really shows why it's deserving of the #1 spot. On the topic of deserving, if you enjoyed this video and feel I deserved it, make sure to hit that subscribe button to join the ever expanding army of rogues on the channel. Another video of mine should have appeared on your screen, breaking down every Beware advantage in Survivor, which if you haven't already watched, I'm sure you'll love. Nonetheless, have a great day, and peace!